Administrator Rogoff, I want to thank you publicly, you and Secretary LaHood, for taking the time to come to Hawaii in March to meet with me and other members of the delegation on a wide variety of transportation projects throughout our state. I appreciate all of the work that you've done and the clarity you promote over the years on Honolulu High Capacity Rail Project. Can you discuss the federal funding commitment to the Honolulu Rail Project and what benefits expanded transit funding could have for projects across the nation?
Honolulu and Oahu in particular has some of the most punishing congestion in the United States. And the Honolulu Rail Project obviously is something that we support quite strongly. This project has taken a long time to get off the ground. As you know, it has sort of been derailed twice before. And the only thing that's happened is the congestion on H1 has gotten even worse. Now, as you was also pointed out, that there is a good bus network in and on Oahu, but the reality is when you've got a congested road network, there's only so much you could accomplish with buses. So we, in our budget for 2012, have proposed $250 million specifically for the Honolulu Rail Project, and we're hopeful of admitting that project into final design. We're currently reviewing their financial plan. We did recently conclude a risk assessment where we found that the risk was actually under control, and the local authorities' proposal to lower the cost estimate was reasonable based on how much of the project they've gotten under contract. So this is the kind of project that will really be about traditional congestion relief. It will be about getting working people from the west side of Oahu over to the east side and home in time to see their kids when they're awake. And it mirrors a lot of what can be accomplished elsewhere in the country.
Thank you. Administrator Rogoff, can you please describe how the FTA, working with state and local governments to ensure the costs for projects like the Honolulu Rail Project are managed effectively?
Well, our involvement with a project does not end when we sign a full funding grant agreement. What we then do as the project is in construction is have a what's called a PMOC, Project Management Oversight Consultant, on site, observing construction patterns, keeping a monitor on costs, working to make sure that the project comes in on time and on budget. And when we see them going off that curve, we have some conversations about how we can get an improvement plan or a project management plan in place to keep the project on time and on budget. Our methods aren't always perfect, but we've had steady improvements in terms of the number of projects that are coming in and on budget over the years.
Thank you, Administrator. The bus operations on Maui, Kauai, and Hawaii Island are some of the fastest growing bus transportation systems in America. However, they are relatively small in terms of the number of buses operated. In the past, the Congress assisted in funding the capital costs of many of these fast-growing bus transportation systems through the bus and bus facilities programs. What other programs could our rural bus operators use for capital assistance for their rapidly expanding operations?
Well, there's a few. As I mentioned to Senator Reid, our State of Good Repair program will help them make sure that they have the funding to replace their fleet, and that those programs, those projects. I've had the opportunity to visit the bus provider on Maui, and you're correct that they are one of the fastest growing players in the country. And when you're trying to provide mobility around an island that just has a perimeter road, and you have gas prices the highest in the nation, as you pointed out, those bus services are very critical. Now, in addition to the State of Good Repair program for fleet replacement, we are proposing substantial growth as part of our policy proposals for the bus and bus facility program, and our support under that program would grow as quickly for rural communities as it would for urban communities, and therefore the outer islands would get the benefits of that growth as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.